Hello, in this video we will become more familiar with crochet tools. We'll review basic crochet stitches. We'll get a close-up view of those crochet stitches. We'll learn about yarn and hook size, and we'll practice reading a pattern. We'll start off with a crochet hook. I like Clover or more, and then I prefer a middle yarn needle, and you need a stitch marker, so you can use these plastic ones or you can make your custom ones using charms and little earring hooks, and I like these too because it's easier to use and it's cute. Now first we're going to start by using a slip knot to anchor onto our hook, and it's really easy. This is basically how I create a slip knot. You can do it several different ways. I know my mom personally just ties a knot on it and it works just fine, but this is the basics of how to do a slip knot. Now first we're going to start off with a chain. When you're about to work in a chain, you don't start with the first chain, you go to the second one after it, or the second chain from the hook, as is often referred. We're going to do some single crochets. Let's take a closer look. So as you can see, we have a little V shape at the top. That's our crochet stitch. We have a front loop, which is the part of the V facing you. We have a back loop, the part of the V furthest away from you. And you'll see, because we went through 2 loops to make this single crochet, it has 2 little strands at the end of each stitch. This is the back. Now let's go ahead and look at the half double crochet. So the difference between this and a single crochet is we have to yarn over before we make the stitch. And we end up with 3 loops on our hook because we did a yarn over. And then we pull through all 3. Yarn over, and then we're gonna pull it through the stitch, and then we're gonna end up with 3 loops on our hook, and then we're gonna just do another yarn over and pull through all of them. Why don't we look at this in more detail? As we can see, since we had 3 loops, those 3 strands show up at the end of each stitch. So we can see it actually on the stitch itself also. Finally, let's do a double crochet. Yarn over like the half double crochet. We have 3 loops. We're going to yarn over and pull through the first 2. We'll leave 1 on, so we have 2 on the hook. We yarn over again, and that way we've done a double crochet. Repeat the process, yarn over, go into the stitch, pull through the first 2 loops, and then yarn over and pull through yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over again, and pull through 2 more. Let's take a closer look. As you can see, there's 4 strands at the end of each stitch because we use 4 loops. And here's what they look like from the back. Let's do some more single crochet so I can demonstrate 2 more basic crochet techniques for you. So whenever you're working in a row, we always chain 1 before we turn if we're doing single crochet. Anything else you might want to do chain 2, but for now we're just again doing 1 single chain. We're going to flip it over, we're going to turn it, and we are going to make an invisible decrease. So what that means is we're going to insert our hook into the front loop of 2 consecutive stitches. We're going to pull, yarn over and pull through those 2 consecutive loops, yarn over again and pull through the 2 loops on our hook. Let's take a look at more detail. In this instance, you'll see that there's 2 stitches at the bottom, but they all lead to 1 stitch on top because we've condensed them. And they actually form a very unique shape that looks more like a little house. So if you see this stitch, you can tell that there's been a decrease. This is how it looks from the back. Next, we're going to do an increase, a single crochet increase. So you basically do 1 single crochet. I like to keep the tension on that yarn until I do a second single crochet. Let's look at it in more detail. So you can see it starts off as 1 stitch, but above it, it results in 2 different stitches. And you can see this on the actual piece as well. Next, we're going to talk about hook size and yarn size. The smaller your yarn size is and the smaller your hook, the smaller your end result will be. The larger your yarn size is and the larger your hook, the larger your piece will be. Next, we're going to look at yarn size and hook size compared to gaps. So if you want tighter stitches, you have to use larger yarn with a smaller hook. If you want looser stitches, like for clothes, you want to use a larger hook with a smaller yarn size. Next, we're going to learn how to read a pattern. So let's look at some abbreviations. These got the magic ring, we got the single crochet, we got front loop only, we got slip stitch, we got a double crochet, we got triple crochet, half double crochet. You can see all of this usually is written out row by row. The structure of a pattern can vary and the terminology can vary also. First, we start by making our slip stitch. I'm going to tighten it on the hook. I'm going to start off by making 3 chains. Then I'm going to insert my hook into the first chain. I'm going to yarn over and pull through these 2 stitches or these 2 chains. Now I'm going to do 1 more chain and I'm going to insert my hook into the hole that it creates and do a single crochet. You can use any kind of stitch really in the little portal that we create or the magic ring. The pattern says 6 single crochets in the magic ring, so we're going to make that many. I usually count backwards for my hook, so in this instance we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 stitches, and we're going to start there. And I'm going to insert, and I'm going to do a single crochet in the first one. Now my pattern calls for me to do 2 increases, so that means we have to make another single crochet into that same stitch. So I go ahead and make another single crochet. So this is an increase. I always put my stitch marker after I've made my first stitch. Sometimes it's easier to wait till you do the increase to mark the first stitch. It's whatever you prefer. The pattern calls for us to do another increase, so I'm going to do it once again. So I'm going to insert my hook, and I'm going to do another increase using single crochets. Now we did the 2 increases. Now the pattern calls for us to do 4 single crochets. Now, as you can see at the end of each row, there's usually a stitch count, unless it's kind of like a freehand pattern. But in this instance, we have 8. So we have 2 increases, which would be 4, and we have another 4 single crochets. So it's just 8. Now I kind of just poke it out a little bit to, make it easier to continue on the next round. So the next round, I'm going to unhook our marker. Looks like we have to just do 8 single crochets. So I do my single crochet. Now we're going to go ahead and mark that first stitch so we can keep up with it as we go around. And so I did 1, so let's do 2. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. There we go. We'll do one more row. We do one more increase, and then we have to do 7 single crochet. So like I said, I do my increase, then I go back and mark the first stitch. So now let's go ahead and do the rest of the 9. So we're just going to do 7. And you can slow this down if you need to. And if my crochet style isn't exactly what you're comfortable with, there's so many videos online. You could definitely find a crochet style that you're comfortable with. So hopefully this will get you started at least. And if you want to take a break, I just pull out the little yarn and leave it there with my stitch marker, and then I can go get coffee or do something else. Hopefully this helps you and you can begin your crochet journey and making yourself and your friends and your kids and your family cute little toys that are custom made and one of a kind. I appreciate you for watching. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. Thanks.